Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. Hope you are well. We're still in visuals and we need to control our visuals with the mechanics that are inside our game. So how are we going to do this? Well, if we look closely over here, you can see straight away that I have added another variable. So let's have a look at the variable that I've made over here. So if I just bring my mouse down slowly, I've got one called boat damage. Now, boat damage is going to help me because it's going to tell the player and the game that the costume needs to go to the next broken boat costume. So let's click start. We've got our items here, and we know that in the last video before we started making our boat that we had to control our boat so that when it hit the side of the boat, when it hit the side of the island, that the boat was going to bounce off it. However, you can now see that my boat is starting to break apart. So if I go full screen on this, and we can see the game, the mechanics here, my boat is now starting to split into pieces. It's now starting to sink. So as a player, I know that I've got to be really careful now, because if I want to get to the ruins, it's going to be game over. Okay, so there are lots of things in here that are actually happening in terms of what we learned right the way back at the beginning with broadcasts, and now I'm starting to use broadcasts and variables at the same time. So let's have a look at what variables we've got with the boat damage. So here's my boat damage being used in the code that we had before, which is when color hits color. And what I want to do is take a boat damage away from my variable and then wait a second. So each time that this color hits another color which is on the island somewhere, so it's all these colors. Now you remember I said I was going to have lots of colors hitting other colors, and I do. I have lots and lots of colors because I just picked off different colors using that color picker like I did in the last lesson, and just said if this color hits this color, what we're going to do is take a point away. Okay, it's as simple as that. So let's go and pull this out. Let's go and have a look to see what it actually looks like. Okay, so this is one part. In the previous one, we didn't have these two, did we? So we just said bounce 10 pixels the other way, basically. So if I'm going to hit this color, which is at the front of the boat with part of the island, change X by speed minus 10. So at this point, it is 10 pixels, but the boat's going at 3 pixels anyway, because the speed is 3. I made a boat damage variable, and I just said change boat damage by 1, which tells the game that if my boat damage is going to equal a particular point, then it's going to switch a costume, because I've made 9 costumes. You may have 5, you may have 6, but I know that once it reaches the 7th one, say, and you've got 6, game over. All right, because a boat can't float anymore. So I'm going to go and put that inside there. So inside this bit here, when color touches color, change X by 10. You can copy this and have a go yourself and see if it matches your game. Okay, your colors may be slightly different. They'll be very similar though, if you're using my map. Okay, so when I click start, everything appears, and so this boat now can sail around here. Nothing's happening when I'm hitting the octopus, but that's coming. Okay, that's another mechanic. Okay, which is the odd job Eddie mechanic. All right, so I'm just going to roll down here very slowly. Okay, and you can have a look to see that I've put this same code. It's the same code over and over and over again, except for the colors. So this is just telling me that if this boat hits this, or hits the trees, or hits this tree, or hits this part of the island, because if you look closely at the islands, there's a slightly different color here than there is on the inside of the island. So for each island, there's at least 2 colors that it's going to be hitting. Look, you can see how close these shades are. They're not quite the same because they're different parts of the island. They're the kind of like the mountains and what have you. So you can have a go at that yourself. Okay, that's your next bit for your game mechanic. All right, so go and have a look at this for your mechanics and your visuals. Go and put those that new variable in for boat damage or whatever you want to call it. And then you can change the damage by 1. So as the damage gets higher and higher, your costume will change. And once it gets to a certain point, we're going to go and have a look at the next bunch of code that we're going to say, if it reaches this point, you've lost the game. All right. So we're going to go and have a go at that. As always, year 6, good luck.